Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Synema Cinergy, where we take a look at the question, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
And boy, we're on a refresher course. We're in the, oh god, what is it called in Japan when you go to a school because you failed during normal school year?
Remedial? I don't think that's just a Japanese thing. I think that's decently common.
Well, there's a lot of high-stakes remedial classes going on right now.
Boy, aren't there. Anyways, I'm Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll, pronouns he, him.
And I am Greg, aka Greg, also pronouns he, him.
And this is a show where we take a look at a movie from the past that is related to a movie that is coming out. And this is a real toss-up, and I'm really starting to think maybe we picked the wrong one. Because...
Existential dread!
Yeah, isn't it just? Because it came down to Paddington 2 or Captain America the Winter Soldier, and we were both really itching to look at a Marvel movie, because despite the fact that a lot of the stuff we talk about on our podcast, Under the Bridge, which you can also check out on this channel, is related to comic book movie stuff, and especially Marvel stuff, we've never done one of these in the solid, almost a year now? Maybe a year that we've been doing Synema Cinergy?
Yes.
We've never covered a mainstream Marvel movie. Actually, not a mainstream comic book movie, but certainly not a Marvel Studios movie. So we decided to do that, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, that's all that can really be said, is that we'll get into it.
Yeah, so we're talking about the 2014 Captain America the Winter Soldier.
It was 2014?
2014, yes sir.
Jesus Christ. Oh.
That was 11 fucking years ago.
Yeah, oh god almighty. Jesus.
Oh, that hurts.
That hurts a lot.
That hurts me on the inside. I remember seeing this in theaters. I walked out of this going, this was damn good.
I don't think I saw this in theaters. I think I saw it after the fact during one of our early movie nights.
Really? Okay.
I think this was one of those ones where I wanted to see it in theaters, but because of factors, I couldn't.
Ah. Yeah, this is part of the wide-encompassing Marvel Cinematic Universe. You've heard of it by this point. If if you don't know, you're under a rock, frankly.
Yeah, honestly. One of the biggest movie franchises on the planet. Yep, nope, never heard of it.
The biggest, actually. The highest grossing of all time, very likely never to be surpassed. Star Wars is a distant second in terms of box office gross, and I mean very distant.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's honestly really impressive considering that Marvel comic movies in their current state have been around for significantly less time than Star Wars.
Yeah, but they've also got way more releases. I mean, Star Wars has had, 11 movies, and Marvel is... Marvel had more than that in Phase 2.
Jesus. Alright,
well,
that's
Phase
fair.
1 and 2. By the end of Phase 2, they had 12 movies.
Oh my. Okay, cool.
But anyways, we're here to talk about Captain America the Winter Soldier, the first sequel in the Captain America franchise, the first Captain America movie to be set in the modern day, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's good!
It's good. Of course it's good. For me, this was always, and still is for the most part, my favorite Marvel movie.
I can't call it my favorite. There are Marvel movies I like more. I'm pretty sure I like at least 2 of the 3 Guardians movies more, maybe the whole franchise.
Right.
Deadpool and Wolverine might be past it a little bit?
You know what? Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with that. I think I like it so much because it appeals to my personal tastes of being kind of a action spy political thriller type of movie. I tend to lean more towards those. One of my favorite movies, even though it is a very dialogue-heavy movie, is Pat Labor 2, because of it being ostensibly the entire time a very high-stakes political thriller. So Winter Soldier kind of leans more into that for me, although it's a lot more on the action side than Pat Labor 2 is. And Pat Labor 2 has mechs, for God's sake.
No, that's a valid take, and I will say, to its credit, even if it's not my favorite of the MCU movies, I think it's, and this might sound a little silly, I think it's objectively the best one.
I would be inclined to agree with that. In terms of overall quality, yeah.
Yeah, this is not the one I'm most likely to put on again and again, but it is the one where I find the least fault with it every time I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect, because basically no movie is except Hundreds of Beavers, but...
Man, that was a joyous watch.
That was amazing. That was life-changing. I will never be the same. But no, so Captain America the Winter Soldier. Captain America's in the modern day now. He just got done teaming up with the Avengers, but he's having a real grim and gritty era. He's having a, I'm not sure what I believe in. Everything's topsy-turvy, this modern world. Yeah.
And so it begins.
little bit. I'll admit, for no discernible reason. Can't put my finger on it.
Ugh.
No idea what would stir these disquieting, discomforting feelings about about an American political film set in 2014
Yeah.
about uncovering a fascist Nazi conspiracy.
God. Man, this... I don't know how much we're going to get into it. Hopefully it's not the entirety of this episode, but there's a lot of things in this movie that hit a lot different right now. It has to be said. There's no way to not acknowledge that.
We're kind of sort of maybe in the middle of a coup. Who knows?
Especially since when this movie came out, we were in college. So at that point, we of course have an understanding of things happening around us and the cause of effect of like certain actions. And I don't know about you, but for me, it definitely hits really different from then to now and seeing just how things have changed in society and just really reinforcing the fact that movies, like a lot of art in all honesty in general, are just kind of gateways and mirrors into various aspects of general society. And boy howdy is Winter Soldier no different.
Anybody who says art is political doesn't know what they're talking about. But anyways. Anyways, I can't wait for Captain America Brave New World. I'm sure the discourse will be reasoned and civil and...
Yeah. Art is not political. You just have the screenshot of the guy who made Punisher just basically saying, no, fuck you for using the Punisher symbol for your dipshit causes that you truly do not understand.
Right. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
No, but this is a great movie. I mean, Chris Evans back as Captain America, knocking it out of the park as a man at a time, but mostly settled in, except from kind of a moral, ethical standpoint. He's still working for S.H.I.E.L.D. as he was in the Avengers, but he's clearly much more conflicted. He's having a hard time with all the morally gray stuff that they're up to, especially because he's frequently partnered with Natasha Romanoff, played by Scarlett Johansson, rocking probably her best hair in all of these movies.
Her hair is horrendously attractive in this film.
Fabulous. It's distractingly perfect.
Yes.
If I have one complaint about this movie, it's that Black Widow's hair is too perfect.
Yeah, I mean, Black Widow as a whole is just, both from a acting standpoint and just from a being there standpoint, I think she kind of generally steals the screen every time she shows up.
She gets a little bit more of a gremlin side in this movie, probably because she's, playing against Chris Evans as Captain America, and Cap, he's not a total stick in the mud, but in this movie in particular, he's pretty serious, he's pretty straight-laced, and instead she's just pressing all the buttons, seeing what they do. Yeah,
she presses on pretty much everyone's button. There's a whole subplot in this movie about Natasha trying to find a date for Captain America to help ease back into modern times, I guess. Cap, you've been in ice for long. You know what you need? A girlfriend.
If you ask that girl from accounting out, I'm sure she'd say yes. That's why I don't ask. I'm pretty sure lots of people would say yes if Captain America asked them out.
Oh yeah, just absolutely. Absolutely. Man, it's like having the friend that knows well, but is also a gremlin. So
No, total gremlin in this. It's great.
She's right, but it's also not what you're thinking about.
Just the bit where they kick Sitwell off the side of the building, and then they have the discussion about what about that one girl, the one with the lip piercing? Yeah, what's her name? Lauren Lillian, right? Yeah, I'm not ready for that.
Which considering that the man is literally from the 40s, I completely understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a romantic interest hint with Emily Van Camp's Sharon Carter, which, I'll level with you, I've always fucking hated this plotline.
Yeah, because she's her niece?
Peggy's niece, yeah. Peggy Carter's niece, because obviously Peggy Carter, Captain America's wartime love interest played by Haley Atwell. She's back in this movie, but, obviously she has aged significantly from the 40s, and now she's got dementia, in what is probably the saddest scene in this goddamn movie that still drives me to tears. I was actually crying watching it for this video. Yeah,
and it's a thing of when it pops up, it's like, man, I forgot how sad it is. Because it's a whole thing of Steve talking to Peggy about everything that's happened, all the things he's come back to, and the time they spent creating what would end up being S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the good they did. And then she just has a coughing fit, and then her eyes go wide. It's like, Steve, you're back! I'm like, fuck!
Oh no, you can't fucking do that to me!
Yep, that still has impact. Everything about that still has impact. What's really unfortunate about it is that for me, so when this movie came out, and when I watched it, I was still really early in the whole everything about Marvel at that point. I think I saw this movie before seeing the first Avenger.
Huh.
So that whole scene, while I understood it's like, oh, that's sad, because I didn't watch the first Avenger, the impact of that scene did not hit me with the weight that it should have.
Okay, let me tell you my stupid Marvel Studios story, which is that I redboxed most of the Phase 1 movies. Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America First Avenger. My dad and I watched them all when I was in high school.
Right.
And I never really clicked that they were supposed to be connected, and I just thought, yeah, these are pretty good. And then I watched the Avengers with some of our friend group in college, and I was blown away by that movie, and that movie is what got me to start paying more attention to movies, and what got me to start watching the Marvel movies in theaters. And I didn't see that one until after Iron Man 3 came out, so the first one that I saw in theaters was Thor: The Dark World, which...
Oh, considering I know your thoughts on that movie, that's freaking hilarious.
It could be worse.
In a different universe, that would be the movie that goes like, no, fuck this, I'm never going back to these movies again.
Nick Fury's back in this, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and this is back when he was still in his cool and mysterious phase, not his completely washed up phase. Thanks, Secret Invasion.
Yeah, no. It's really interesting, actually, because Nick Fury and Captain America do represent just two completely different thought processes on how to deal with humanity, peace, outside of wartime, and stuff like that. Because Captain America's whole shtick in this movie, like kind of what causes the general underlying conflict in the movie is... Well, Nick Fury introduces to Captain America Project Insight, which...
Horrifying. What a terrifying idea.
Yeah.
It's gotten so much scarier since 2014.
Yeah, but I think even when I watched this, they were going over, I'm like, this is a stupid fucking idea, and this is also a morally bankrupt idea, too. For the uninitiated who have never seen this movie, by the way, spoilers on this 12-year-old movie.
Bucky's a Winter Soldier!
Project Insight is basically a plan that S.H.I.E.L.D. has of having three somehow self-sustaining, completely autonomous helicarriers that are linked to between a computer server network and a satellite uplink. The basic idea, I don't know how anyone thought this was a good idea, but the basic idea is that Project Insight helicarriers are always active, always watching, and they can basically watch people at any point, and if it's determined that someone is a potential threat to the civilized free world, they can be eliminated by the Project Insight helicarriers with basically nothing more than a whistle at the end of the day.
Laser precision ballistics, basically.
Yeah, from thousands of feet in the air. Captain America, aka a sane human being, goes, no, that's really fucked up, and also fucking stupid.
And I mean, to give Nick Fury some credit, he's clearly not on board with it either, and he kind of uses Cap as a sounding board.
Yeah.
So when Cap refuses to go along with it, he's like, I better look into this. So, I'll give him a little bit of credit. He clearly values Cap's opinion enough that despite him being insistent that Cap needs to get with the program, when Cap continues to resist it, he's like, shit, okay. You know what, maybe this is a fucked up idea.
Yeah, and it really does do a good job of representing how those two characters represent just the changes in how we look at things like this from then and now, because a big theme, now this is not the entire theme of World War II, let's make this very clear. There were absolutely some political machinations, power plays, behind the scenes in World War II, many of which affect the world to this day. But one of the things that did kind of drive the creation of the Allied forces together in World War II was the defeat of this common, dangerous enemy who threatened millions of lives because it was the right fucking thing to do. And in that, Captain America, Steve Rogers, got into that because he recognized this threat that this poses to humanity and goes, yeah, we need to beat this guy and this entity because it's the right fucking thing to do. Whereas with Project Insight and with Nick Fury and all that, it's now a thing of, well, it's really hard to tell who the good guys and the bad guys are, so basically everyone is a suspect. And Cap is understood like, no, that's fucking stupid and honestly pretty ethically wrong.
You know what the worst part is? I just realized we still haven't even mentioned Anthony Mackie, which is doing him a grave disservice.
Oh,
partly
yeah.
because we're doing this as a tie-in to his fucking movie.
Yeah.
And he's really good in this. I was still back in my, even though I'd started watching Marvel movies at this point and I was enthusiastic about it, I was still very much in the, some characters are just inherently not great ideas for a movie prospect, and I still am, but only where Sony's involved. But Falcon was definitely one of those characters where I thought, this is kind of a lame idea. I mean, all he can do is fly, but I mean, Iron Man and Thor can do that, plus other stuff, but boy howdy, let me tell you, in a movie where nobody else can fly, fucking magnificent!
Oh,
and
yeah.
even then, he really holds his own in later movies, even compared with other characters who have flying abilities. And he's such a cool guy, too!
Yeah. Because he is. The characters that I generally lean more towards and have more attachment to within these movies and within this franchise as a whole are the characters who are ultimately normal people. Well, air quotes normal, but by the relative standards of the MCU. But Anthony Mackie's character is just a guy. He is a veteran. He used to work pararescue and stuff like that. He helps other veterans deal with adjusting back to civilian life. By all accounts, he's just a guy who is out here helping his fellow soldiers and his fellow people because it's the right thing to do.
And he's also super savvy. Like, he manages to identify where Cap's main struggles are in adapting to the modern world just from experience and from how other people have done with it. And he manages to low-key extend an invitation for Cap to attend one of the counseling sessions without actually attaching any pressure or indication that there's anything wrong, by just spinning a thing about, look, if you ever want to swing by and make me look cool in front of the girl at the front desk.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I didn't really think about it until you said it. And then everything about that did click. Oh, that is good. Because it is a thing of knowing Cap, especially knowing, his ties and strong attachment to the armed forces and the people who serve. Yeah, that would be a great stepping stone for him to come in and just actually kind of lay it all out, talk about what bothers him, just make it really clear that even though he's freaking Captain America, ultimately, as an individual, he is on the same level as everyone else who comes to these meetings. He has struggles, he has conflicts and stuff like that any person would go through, especially any person who served in the military.
Yeah, he is one of the guys who just treats Captain America as a guy.
Yeah.
And for that, he earns Steve's respect and trust.
Yeah. And then he whips out the metal flying wings.
And it's so fucking cool!
Honestly, until we rewatched this, I forgot exactly how his whole flying thing got brought back up. And I completely forgot it was a whole thing of, oh god, there's so much of this movie that we're also skipping over, by the way. In the interest of time. I forgot that it was a thing of, for various reasons, which I'm sure we'll double back to during this recording. Natasha and Steve are laying low at Falcon's house, at which point Falcon shows them pictures from his time in Afghanistan, and also basically the blueprints of his mech suit.
Right, because specifically they need to get close to Agent Sitwell, who clearly knows about the truth of Project Insight. But at this point, they're both wanted by S.H.I.E.L.D., so they're trying to figure out how do we kidnap a high-ranking S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in broad daylight. And Falcon just goes, got you covered.
Yeah, and it's just like, what is this? Consider it my resume. And then that's when not fully, but that's when the whole flying suit thing gets kind of introduced. I really forgot that that's how that happened, because usually with reveals like that, there's a lot more grandeur to them.
Well, that was more of a little hint. The grandeur comes when, again, Natasha Romanoff kicks Sitwell off a building, and then Falcon just fucking snatches him up before he hits the ground.
Which, by the way, that's one of the few times where the whole, you can't kill me, oh, I can't, but this person can. That's one of the few times where I'm kind of okay with that trope.
Yeah.
When it happens, what got me especially was the fact that they just toss him off the side, and Natasha goes back to asking Steve about a potential, date prospect. I'm like, you just shoved this man off the side of a building! And then Falcon comes up, dragging Sitwell by the collar. Oh! Alright, cool!
My favorite part of that whole thing is the fact that after dangling him off the side of the building, and then determining that he's not personally gonna do it, Cap pulls him back over and then straightens out his lapels. Yeah. It's the funniest fucking little detail to me, that he takes the time to do that, and then lets Natasha kick him off the side of the building.
Right.
No, so the big twist, it turns out, is that Hydra has in fact infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. since its inception. They all got Operation Paperclipped in. Arnim Zola, played by Toby Jones, returns, and he's in the middle of, he basically uploaded his brain onto a bunch of tape decks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now he's a computer man. They've basically been using their ins in S.H.I.E.L.D. to manufacture chaos and get people to surrender their freedom willingly. You know, also under the threat of 3 giant helicarriers able to wipe out 10 million people at a time.
Yeah.
But, willingly. Willingly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So you have to stop that. The action in this is sick.
Oh, the fights in this movie are great.
The choreography is so fast-paced and crisp. Just, the angles are good at making scenes feel disorienting, but also not hard to follow.
Yeah. They definitely do a good job of showing the chaos in a lot of these scenes.
And Cap's clearly upped his game since his last couple of movies. This man's just fucking kicking people off the sides of ships, ding-donging people with the shield. It's the funniest shit.
Actually takes down a Quinjet with the shield.
Boy, howdy, you know, when I saw that the first time in theaters, I thought, he's not gonna, and then he did, and I just went, alright, that's badass, good for you! Way to fucking go.
Just gives a golf clap in the
I feel like this is Steve Rogers at his best. As the MCU went on, I got a lot more issues with Steve Rogers and his character and how he reacts to things, but this is peak Steve Rogers right here.
Yeah, this is peak cinema.
And then we got fucking Falcon flying around, ducking helicarrier cannon shots and artillery and shit.
Yeah.
No, and yeah, Sebastian Stan's back as the Winter Soldier. That's not a big twist. They basically telegraphed that one in the marketing, and I commend them for it, because everybody already was gonna know anyway, and they used that to hide the fucking Hydra twist. That was really smart. I like that a lot.
Oh, is that how it went back then?
Yeah, because you gotta remember, nobody saw the Hydra twist coming and the dissolution of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was the big twist. And part of what kept everybody from thinking about it is the fact that all the comic nerds were busy talking about how, oh, it's so obvious the Winter Soldier is Bucky, I don't know why they're pretending it's any kind of big secret when we can see the Winter Soldier and it's clearly Sebastian Stan. And the reason is, it was merely a red herring. Much like communism.
Oh god, I don't know how to respond to that one.
Watch Clue if you haven't already, everybody.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that, because again, I didn't see this movie in theaters, nor did I, again, since this was early in my time with Marvel, I didn't pay attention to any of the marketing, so...
Oh, also, Robert Redford's basically the main bad guy. He's Alexander Pierce, the head of the world, well, a member of the World Security Council, I think. Yeah, he's a prick.
Oh, he's a right prick.
But he's just so likable.
No.
Well, I mean, he does a really good job projecting an air of joviality, you know?
I guess. I don't know. I was just like, again, because of the fact I've seen this movie a few times before, I'm just like, no, you can go fuck yourself.
No, obviously, once you know he's Hydra, he's a fucking asshole, but until then, he's pretty cool. Like the bit where they're accusing Nick Fury of being complacent and hiring Batroc to hijack the S.H.I.E.L.D. ship so he could cover up his involvement in selling classified intel, and they're implying that Pierce might have been complacent, and he goes, are you asking for my resignation? Because I got a pen.
Yeah. Oh, the one that did it for me, which was a mixed reaction moment for me, was the bit where he's talking with the Winter Soldier in his home, and then his aide comes back into the house because she forgot her phone. And I'm just like, okay, on one hand, well, I understand why you shot her. You're an asshole. But on the other hand, I go nuts if I can't find my phone. You're not going to have me shot for finding out about a conspiracy because I lost my phone.
No, it's to establish he's a right bastard.
I mean, yeah, he absolutely is. That goes without saying.
Yeah. So yeah, no, some cool action sequences, some cool fights, some interesting insight into Steve and Bucky's friendship. Oh, fuck.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. S.H.I.E.L.D. is completely dissolved, which is an interesting upending of the status quo, I will say. Nowadays, I feel like Marvel doesn't have enough of a status quo to upend.
Yeah, it was a thing of, for people who didn't watch these movies, like when they first came out, S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of like the major underpin holding everything together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was the big connecting element from movie to movie, was the presence of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and also their influence on world affairs and finding out about these heroes and all that. When S.H.I.E.L.D. went, to call it a shakeup would be an understatement.
Yeah, especially because, hey, there was a S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show running at the same time.
Yeah.
Which had everybody going, what the fuck happens now?
Yeah, and honestly, when I remember watching that, because you introduced me to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think we, binge-watched that show over the course of like a week or something like that.
At least the first couple of seasons.
Yeah. But yeah, no, S.H.I.E.L.D. gets dissolved. like kind of mostly headed by Natasha to a degree, who, by the way, has one of the best one-liners in any of the Marvel movies that I can remember. Part of what kind of kickstarts the whole dissolution of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything to stop Project Insight as well is that basically Pierce holds the World Security Council hostage and is getting ready to kill anyone who goes against him, and he's about to kill the female member of the Security Council until she just starts kicking ass, which I want to believe that the actress who plays her just had the time of her life in that scene.
Well, it was probably her stunt double who did it.
Fair. It looks like that she was part of it to an extent, because I think we saw her face a couple times during the scene.
It's probably a stunt double.
Fair. But then it turns out that the one kicking ass is Natasha, and she's taken up a disguise as this woman. She just goes, "I'm sorry. Did I step on your moment?"
Phenomenal.
Oh, I love that. That is just pure peak gremlin energy.
So yeah, no, the plot is thwarted. Bucky, who has been brainwashed into being this agent for Hydra, which, God, we barely even touched on.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't recover his memories, but he does manage to break free enough to go out looking for clues to his own identity. Steve is now insistent on hunting down Hydra cells, and Falcon's helping him out with that, and also chasing down leads on where Bucky might be. Natasha goes off to figure out who she is now that S.H.I.E.L.D. no longer exists, and grappling with the fact that she was actually kind of secretly working for Hydra the whole time, accidentally, because she didn't know.
Yeah, honestly, the whole Bucky thing is kind of an interesting one, because we get more of his backstory, because 3/4 of the way through Captain America: The First Avenger, Bucky basically gets lost on a train that gets derailed on a mission that they're doing, and we see from various flashbacks in Winter Soldier that he lost his arm in that accident, was captured by the Soviets, and specifically the Black Widow program, or was it just like a portion of Hydra?
No, it's not the Red Room, it was just Hydra.
It was just the Soviet equivalent of Hydra, right?
No, it was just Hydra. It was literally Hydra.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But then, yeah, he gets picked up, they give him the arm, which I could have sworn the arm in this movie was made of vibranium.
I don't think it is. At least not yet.
Yeah, it's later on in the movies that it gets made of vibranium, but it's very much not in this. Which is actually amazing, considering that Bucky does go toe-to-toe with Captain America's vibranium shield, with using his metal arm pretty frequently, too.
He does.
Yeah.
Some real good trades.
Yeah, that was the part, especially the bit where Cap throws the shield at him and he catches it with the metal arm. I'm just like, wait, I don't think his shield is made of vibranium, so that should, in theory, destroy his arm.
I guess maybe he's not punching it hard enough for that No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Maybe it was washed with Dawn.
Oh, God, there we go again. Secret weakness.
There's a callback.
Black Panthers hate him for this one simple trick. Just put dish soap on vibranium, it melts away.
Right.
No, yeah, this is a really good time, this movie.
Oh, it's a great time. Oh, God, it hits with a different feeling right now. Yeah. It's very much, it's unfortunately one of those things where because of that, it's like, I really love this movie. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies, but I don't think I'm as eager to rewatch it as I used to be. Let's just leave it at that.
Remember, kids, trans rights are human rights. Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I need more slogans. Just don't be a prick, alright?
Don't be an asshole. Don't be
an asshole.
Creep.
That's different, but also don't be a creep.
Yes.
So, I think that about wraps us up, yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Alright, next month, there's really only one big movie I could think of to tie into that I really feel like it, and we're probably gonna do a tie-in to Snow White, but I don't think it's gonna be what you think.
Oh no.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for further.
But in the meantime, thanks so much for listening if you're still here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video around. It really helps us out. I need to fold that into doing this sooner in these episodes, but I always forget about it.
Right.
But anyways, I still don't have an outro either, so, yeah, bye!
Bye, everybody.